Hello to our esteemed viewers at ATLE where we tell our stories. Today is a new day, and in most cases you've seen me do stories in Vihiga. But today I decided to switch a bit and do something different in a different part of our country. I am in Navakholo. I'm at Gilbert's home, where we're gonna see a beautiful story. A man who decided to get vegetables as flowers in his home to maximize on the space of land. Follow me as you see, as we see, as we listen to a beautiful story from our friend Gilbert Ihabi. Come. Yes, we are here now. This is the man. Let him introduce himself to us.
Thank you. I'm Gilbert Ehavi Wawire.
Yes.
I come from Kakamega County, Navakholo sub-county. By profession, I am a teacher. But when I was young, I started liking to see plants when they grow, when they blossom. I used to feel very happy. But I tried to see what can I do. As I grew up, I made it as a hobby. But because of my profession, I didn't have time to do it on a very large scale.
Yes.
But it has reached a time that I'm seeing myself, the years are not many in the profession of teaching. So I thought, what can I do? Let me start experimenting on what I can do when I am free and I've retired. But because of my passion with plants, and also I like beauty wherever I am, in my compound, even the way I teach. So when I planted flowers, I said, why do I just stay with the flowers, and I like looking at plants when they blossom? So I started having an idea of incorporating vegetables alongside my hedge of flowers. So I started doing it on small scale, and then now I extended it to the piece of garden I have around my home. But when I found people are liking what I do, because I started supplying the community, and along where I saw people coming so that they can, just like brokers, they are taking to the towns or whatever.
To market.
So although I have not done the marketing itself, but it has marketed itself.
Yes.
So I started now doing it on experimental, but I'm seeing it myself. It's what I'm going to do. So for now, I can do from the seeds preparation up to the harvesting and actually giving to the brokers.
So you are passionate about plants since you were a small boy.
Yes, when I was young.
Tell us about, maybe you watched somebody initially, maybe your parents.
My inspiration came from when I saw my mom. When I was young, I looked.
She's
the late. My mom was She passed away in 2002. So I used to look at how she was preparing her gardens of greens, and that was sukuma wiki.
Yes.
It used to be so beautiful.
Kale,
yes, the kale, but not the kale of the market. This is
the traditional.
Traditional. It brings seedling, meaning suckers. You just pluck the suckers. So when I was young, before even I went to standard 1, that's what made me like the farming. Just gardening when my mom was doing that. And to say the truth, even when I was at college and she was alive, what I was planting around my garden in the college was her sukuma wiki.
Yeah.
And that is why it propelled me to now becoming this one becoming a hobby of mine. For your information, I can grow sukuma wiki to a height where you have to plug using a ladder. That 3-legged ladder because it's too tall. But for now, what I'm doing an experiment is on this vegetable called in our dialect, it's called in Namasaka. There's another dialect called Sucha, and the other one they call it from Central Managu. So up to this level, I think I can do my best to remain at the top.
And I've heard from your conversation that you make some good money from this.
Yes, I do, because you know, when you become creative, and you know, with this say this the profession of mine, teaching, you know, you have to supplement. So I realize if I do this, I'll not be lacking a loaf of bread every morning.
Correct.
So when I plant this along my flowers, along this roundabout alone, just one harvest was giving me around 3,000. One harvest, and I do it several times. Yeah, several times according to the design, the creativity I've done. When you cut properly, you apply fertilizer, you do the preparation and everything. So 6 times here. That's why I've harvested. Now I'm replanting again. So I get some. It's though little, but it's actually satisfying the small needs of my family.
Yes.
Yes.
And you get support from your families. I've seen your wife. She's also passionate about what you are doing. But I can see from what I saw, unless you confirm this to our viewers, you receive support from your family?
Very, very, very much. Because sometimes I know, you know, I looked from what I do in life, I'm a bit infectious.
Yes.
Because there are so many things which I do. My wife looked at what I was doing. She became so interested. Yes. Right now, apart from the gardening we are doing in my home, she has her own plots even on the rivers where she plants the same.
Because
So
she can see
she
the
can
benefits.
see, and she actually, from what she has been helping me to do this, she has gotten the experience. In case where she goes wrong, I can also say, here, this application, do this and that. But she has become a passionate person when it comes to planting this type of greens. So it's true. My sons, when they are out of college, they are the ones who do the digging, the depth I'm talking about. Grow. Apart from that also, which something I left out is that when you are digging that depth, make sure any shrub, any green, whatever is needed, is not needed. You use it, and scratch it, put it in some container. Where you are digging, you place it under that depth. You cover it as you dig and go. As you do that, you are creating green manure underneath. And green manure is what making these greens become as tall as they are. Normal fertilizers will not reach that level. So as you dig, make sure you collect even shrubs, those growth, whatever you cut them, bring them. Whereas you dig deep, place them underneath, cover them, dig again, place them. You are doing a lot of good to your farm. And in fact, it becomes very, very fertile. And you like it when you plant.
So I made to understand that for you to get to this stage whereby you have such a kind of beautiful and nutritious vegetables around your home, there is a process you go through. Like, how do you get the seeds? Where do you start? How do you start it?
Yeah, thank you. That is something I know. There are processes, there are stages which we need to go through. But for now, if we have to understand it properly, and from here you can even try it at home, let us do it practically and see how it's done.
Okay, thank you.
Now, this is the first stage in the preparation of making some vegetable gold. The vegetable is called sucha in our language. It's also called namasaka in another dialect. It's also called managu in another dialect. So this is the initial stage. What we shall do, we harvest seeds from the shamba. They look like this. And then when you come with the seeds, we go to a process of processing them so that they can be able to be planted. So we take this, we put in some water, And then we do the squeezing, so that when we squeeze these seeds, the pods are squeezed, and then what we get, they are the seeds themselves mixed with water. So this is the initial stage of making the seeds for planting. It's very important. Some people are not able to do this, but those ones who are not able, they buy from us because we have already prepared using this process. It looks tedious, but when you want to do something, you'll do it. Take your time, do it a whole day, but you want to come up with something. So with this, if you do and you have done enough, you think you have done enough, you remove the pots. Now this one, I'll take this one to the pots which have been squeezed enough, and what you remain with are the seeds in water. These are the seeds you want to use for planting. So that is the first stage. Then when you have this, still the seeds in water, and then we do the sieving. So the seeds are mixed with the water, and then you sieve. When you sieve, you will remain with this. And since you have done enough of that, you can do even 2 tins of 2 kilograms, or even 3, even 4, 5. It depends on how much you have for the seeds. You come up with this, and this is what we dry. You can dry it using maybe an iron sheet so that it dries properly. And what you come up with after drying this from sieving, you come up with something dry like this. So this is dried seed. And from here now, this dried seed is what we use for preparing a seed bed. And then when you prepare the seed bed, just some small furrows, and then you spread. You can cover with some little soil and put some fertilizer, DAP, and then you cover it very lightly. So when you finish that, it's just some 1 week or so they start germinating, because the seed bed will have a cover. And then when they start germinating, you remove the cover slowly. Maybe within 1 week you have removed the cover itself. Then you let it grow, and the next stage, from when you remove from the seed bed, you have the seedling. So we have done the digging deep enough, around 3 times the depth of this djembe. So we have prepared a piece of land. So from here, now you have to dig furrows. They are not deep. The furrows are not deep. You just do slightly like this, so that along that furrows, that's when you plant. So for around this hedge, I usually plant 2 lines. So I'll have another furrow like this. So with this, now after having your furrows along the hedge or along your shamba, have so many areas we have planted. Now you place your seedlings according to the spacing. Now according to the spacing, the closer the seedlings, the more the production. You know, people, they do it because this one I have done, it's an experimenting process. The more you plant and the input will give you, the more for your harvest. So we place them like this, and it's just around 6 inches, sometimes even less, like that. So when you place this like this, all along your line, 6 inches along your lines like that. From the beginning, D8, diammonium phosphate, that's what we use. Because any other, and in case somebody wants to do this, never try to use calcium, ammonium sulfate. Don't use CAN in short, because that one will make your greens flower earlier than required. So just use we need to use this furrow for the application of your fertilizer. So we don't usually block it. So we use a prepared stick. Then you place it in, place your seedling, and then you press it with your finger. That depth where it's going, it means it will look for food from a little bit deeper. At this stage, mostly, if you are not a good farmer, you might not be able to do it at this stage. You will have to wait after 1 week or 2, so that the roots will take root a bit, so it becomes stable. That's when you can apply. We apply the planting fertilizer, but in a way of top dressing. Because if you put it direct and isn't enough rain, then your seedlings will wither. They will die. So for me, I'll apply now because I'm going to continue planting. The rains are not there, but I'm going to use water every morning and evening. So the furrow I was talking about is now still there. You have not really blocked it. So you apply the DAP along that, just like that. This is now, it's like top dressing, but because of the way we want it to grow faster, we put it on top. And then when it's raining, there's no need for you to worry. But since now there's no rain, what I'll do is I'll mix this DAP with the soil like that, still in the same furrow like that, so that it's not on top, so that it will not dry like that. So you mix it with the soil like this, and then after that you have to water it, because there are no rains. There's no rain. You have to water it every evening and morning for at least 3 to 4 days. And then you will find that your greens are doing well. Then after 1 week, when it has taken root, then you come with another layer of fertilizer. You apply just the way I did, mix it with the soil, and then you will now close this furrow. That too, double top dressing with the DAP. That's you will find that what you have seen, the growth, the height, is not as other people do. It's not the same short greens you usually see. Apart from that is the depth. If you don't dig deep that jembe 3 times, you will not harvest that type of greens. So the preparation very important. The planting, leaving the furrows for the first fertilizer application, and then the next and closing up. Then the weeding comes. Make sure the weeds do not have a chance to affect your seedlings or your vegetables. Every now and then, in fact, every after 2 weeks, we go through with a djembe to make sure we prepare the soil remains as clean as it is. And that's why the first harvest here, our greens was reaching up to this level. It was up to here because of the preparation, application of fertilizer, and maintenance. So this preparation, after planting, the application of fertilizer, have to do it in the right way, and then the maintenance, that means weeding every now and then. After that, then you are, after in fact 3 weeks, if you are planted with this height, 3 weeks is harvest. And after that, we'll be harvesting after 3 weeks. And from that, from what the experiment have done, every 3 by 3, that's 3 meters square, we have been harvesting for at least 300 bar, that's 3 meter square area. So it means, and when you put that in a larger perspective, after doing that experiment, it means in an acre you will have around 274 pieces of that. But supposing now you take that one, is very, very intensive what I do. Now you make it a little bit wider, like say 5 meters square, to give you 300 shillings. That means in an acre you'll have around 176 pieces. And if you put that properly, you harvest 6 times. And when you are harvesting, you harvest in the right way and cut You make sure that when you have slashed, they are closer to the ground, so that when they germinate again afresh, they are very fresh. If they germinate when they are in large stalks, they flower very easily, very fast. So that means you lose. That is it, sister. That is it.
Wow.
That's how we do it. That's exactly how we do it.
Wow. That's tiresome, I tell you. You
No,
have to be determined, and true, you have to be passionate.
Yeah.
But if you are not passionate about it, wow, it takes a lot of time, patience, resilience, and you have to be very keen with what you are doing.
Yes.
Because I've learned,
especially when it comes now that planting, if you do it in the wrong way, you put it wrongly, the spacing, the application.
I see that. I can now understand why your vegetables are that good and green.
Now, during that harvest, as I said, the productivity will depend on it. So in most cases, that's where people lose the next harvest. When you are harvesting, also you have to look at the desires of the customers. They might not really want the stock as it is.
Yes.
So you cut the stock up to the length they need. Yeah.
So every customer has his or a preference of the height of the stock of the...
No, let me say all of them. Because they also don't want to give them a stock with fewer leaves at the bottom here, because the main leaves are at the top.
Their interest is in the leaves. Correct.
And now, as a farmer, I know if I harvest when it's still very small, it means it has not broadened the leaves.
Yes.
The stock is not large enough. So it means you will harvest a very large area for you to get what you want. So that's why I leave them to grow at that level. And also, that means when the stock becomes large and you cut, that large stock, the production of the shoots, when they shoot, they are many and they are very, very lively. So you cut after that, after cutting, you have harvested, yes. But that's not enough. If you leave those stalks, when they are high like that, the shoots will become very thin, and they are not green. The next thing is, because now they are still old, there are some suckers which are old, they start flowering. So you will find that the next time you cannot even harvest for a customer.
So you mean when they flower earlier, it means you will get fewer harvests?
The harvest will be, anyway, we are talking of the health of, they are not healthy, one thing. Two is that they will not even reach at a level where you will harvest properly, because they have already started producing the seeds. And the customers will not like to get greens with the seeds. So after you have cut, then you come with a panga or a slasher. Then you slash near to the ground around 6 inches to the ground, so that short stalk, when it starts shooting, they are closer to the ground. And they look now younger, because like they are getting the food direct around there.
Yes.
They don't flower easily. You will harvest before they flower, because they are younger now. But if you leave the stalk, the others, they will be old enough to start flowering immediately. So you can see, you harvest, the next harvest, it looks like it's just a new plant. That's why the slashing becomes a very important thing. And then after slashing like that, you have to plow fast. After plowing, apply the fertilizer before even it rains. The fertilizer now zips through the soil where the lumps. It will not flow away. So you add the fertilizer immediately after plowing, harvesting. And that is DAP. It's not CN. CN will make your greens flower, and you will lose the market. So it's also knowing what you are supposed to, how you are supposed to do it. The technique is very important. I've talked to some of my fellow farmers. They say they flower very fast, very early, whatever. And in fact, harvest once, the next one is gone. The technique of cutting closer to the ground. Yeah, it's very important. That's how it becomes very healthy. Yeah.
Maybe as we finish, there is nothing good that doesn't have a challenge in it, isn't it? Maybe if you can share with us, do you face any challenges in what you are doing around this place, or everything is wow and just good
Yes,
running along?
it's true. Thank you, thank you. There are challenges, yes. There are challenges. One which I solve traditionally because of what I've heard and I've seen is there are some insects, we call them aphids. These can destroy the whole of your crop. And because I have seen the use of these insecticides. Sometimes you see people, they talk about they can harm people's lives, their health or whatever.
They also damage the soil,
Yes.
nutritional values.
They live. So in that, now I mostly what I do, I want my, not somebody to complain that maybe somebody's using some insecticide somewhere it's affected. What I use traditional ways of actually destroying these insects. And it's very simple.
Tell us about it.
When they are cooking this mixture of beans and whatever, there is the ash, isn't it? When you are doing the ordinary cooking,
Yes.
I collect this ash. So if they affect my greens, what I do, I just spray where they are affecting and those things die like hell. I don't use insecticide. So my greens are just very healthy, very good for consumption.
No chemicals.
No chemicals. It's just like that. That's what I do. That's one challenge. The other one is actually about the dry season. You know, this type of greens, they don't lack market. It's needed everywhere, every time. So now, during the rain season, you have water. It's there. It can blossom properly. During the dry season, some other problem. That's really something which can make you get stagnated. So I have tried to see how can I solve it. I have started by digging a small borehole. I have it. But the challenge is still there that for me to make sure that during that dry season, I am supplying my customers without stopping, that I need a pump to pump that water into the field. So that's what the challenge is. But maybe, God blessing, they will reach somewhere where I'll have now to expand when I get that. So that during the dry season, I am a supplier. And during that time, that's when it becomes very expensive. It's not anywhere. So that's what I want to do in the day. That's the two challenges. They usually they can make you get stagnated.
And discouraged.
Yeah, discouraged to do that. Yeah.
Our viewers, you've heard that the lower you go, the higher, the better you become. We have learned a lot in this place from this man and his family. This place is beautiful. Vegetables being used as flowers. At the same time, they are earning money from it, maximizing on the small space that they have. While we complain, we don't have land, we don't have space. Someone had to think outside the box. And now, you can see what is happening here. It is marvelous. If you find time, walk to this place and see for yourself. People are doing things differently. Thank you so much, our viewers, following us at LTLE TV. My name is Carol Martins, Mkere Kinanda if you like it. God bless you. From Navaholo, Western Province in Kenya.